Get home from school, turn on my TV. Who are these friends staring right back at me? Now that we're older, why don't you come over and go back in time with me? 90s babies,
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jessica. And this is 90s Babies Nostalgia, where two 90s babies have fun.
That's what we're saying for now. We're workshopping our content and we are genuinely 90s babies, 2000s raised, having fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, our previous episode was a fall bracket because we are all about the spook currently and the fall. The fall leaves, the fall colors, the fall treats, the pumpkin everything, the apple everything, the Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And so today is about the Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Before we get into our Halloween episode, what have you been enjoying recently?
Okay, not fall at all, sorry. But Baby Queen, which I already mentioned to you.
Yeah.
If y'all like Heartstopper, if y'all like the music in Heartstopper, you'll like Baby Queen because she is 30% of the songs on that show.
Mm-hmm.
And just great fun vibes. One of the songs that's used in season 2 is We Can Be Anything, and it's all about opening up your mind that like when you're having that existential crisis of nothing matters in life,
Mm-hmm.
realize the potential in that we can literally be anything. And I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. What about you, Jess?
I've been listening to a lot of music. So I will give a little music recommendation. If any of you guys are into Zach Bryan, know who Zach Bryan is, go listen to Evan Honer. I just saw him last night, have been following him on socials for like probably 7 or 8 months now. But he's like recent college grad, and is just like very up and coming in the like alt country folk scene. He sings very sad music. So if you do not like sad music, he's probably not for you. I think he literally has one positive song and it's unreleased. Everything else is very, very sad. Like I bawled at multiple songs last night because it's just like so emotional and so beautiful. But if that's the type of music you're into, you like some fiddle, you like just like soft instrumentals with a gorgeous voice, go listen to Evan Honer. If you like Zach Bryan, you will absolutely love Evan Honer.
I'm very amused that we both gave music recommendations on our music episode. You probably planned it because you are intelligent. I did not. I didn't think about it. I just knew that that was my second recommendation. That we gave very different music recommendations, very different from each other and very different from what we're about to do.
Yeah, literally very different. So we're going to do our ultimate Halloween playlist. This is not fall. We're going Halloween. What gives us Halloween vibes? What makes us feel like it's Halloween? We're going to do 5 songs each and then like a bonus 5 songs as well. And I think it will be a mix of stuff. If you've been listening to our stuff, you can probably tell like me and Amanda have very different tastes in music.
I don't think they're as different as you think because I think we both listen to a lot of genres. It's just
Yes.
you like some things I don't like. Like you get more country than I do.
Yeah.
And you get more metal and screamo than I do. But
Yeah.
we do both like a lot of pop punk. We do both like some like indie pop and stuff. And we do both like some folk. There's a lot of overlap, I would say.
No, I agree. There's a lot of overlap, but I do think like our music tastes aren't exactly the same. There is a variety.
I also think there's a lot of overlap in style, but not as much in artists. Also, preface to this, Jess messaged me a few days ago before making this playlist of like, so what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are the parameters? What I don't understand. And I was like, anything that makes you think of Halloween, if it's a Halloween song, great. If it's a pop song, like if Troye Sivan's Rush makes you think of the Boogeyman, that's fine. Just like justify it. And then I went and made this playlist before, like literally this morning, actually, I finished it. And I understand why Jess had issues because I too was looking at all of my options thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah. I just needed to know like the vibe and where to focus my energy. And Amanda, I have to say, she did give me some clarification. It didn't really help, but I was
I
like,
have
I'm
to
just running with it.
I have to say I offered parameters
Yeah.
and you said no, never mind. I never asked anything ever. I
Yeah,
don't want parameters.
Yeah, because then I felt like we were restricting it too much, and I didn't like that.
I suspect that our top 5 must-haves will have a lot more overlap than our 5 honorable mentions, and our 5 honorable mentions will end up having more discourse. That's my prediction.
I think the opposite.
Interesting.
I don't know if our top 5 will have any overlap.
Interesting.
It might have one or two.
So are we going in order of like first one, like this is top, or fifth and building?
Oh, I didn't order mine that way. Do we want to do that? I can quickly do that.
We're podcasting on the fly, people.
So we're going 5th and up.
Yes.
Okay. Who would like to go first?
Well, in the outline you put that I go first, so
Okay.
I'll go first because
Great.
you did that. You gave that to me. Number 5. Don't be controversial about it. Don't be weird, guys. Thriller by Michael Jackson. Here's the thing. It's an absolute classic. It's good to dance to. I felt like when I was making this playlist that I started to get into what gives Halloween vibes, and it almost became what would I put on at a Halloween party.
Mm-hmm.
And so danceability became a factor in it for some reason. I had to learn this dance in 5th grade. The music video is inherently Halloween. It has to be on any playlist.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely steered away from the classics, so I'm glad that you're including some of the classics in your top 5. My number 5 is All the Good Girls Go to Hell by Billie Eilish.
Ooh, that's a vibe.
That whole album, When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go, I think you could say belongs on a Halloween playlist because her like very whispery, sultry voice just feels very like spooky and a little eerie, but especially that song is particularly Halloweeny, and it's one of those that like maybe not in the peak of a party, but as you're having people come in, it's a good song to include on a playlist.
I did notice the criteria. We'll see if your playlist changes at all. But for me, it was like, does it evoke Halloween? Pretty much included. Is it 80s synth pop, or is it a rock song, and or do they have a higher register, whispery type voice? Number 4, and I did my top 5. I did go classics. This is Halloween.
Okay.
Because, okay, here's the thing. I didn't want to include this one. A, it's from Struckwork. B, it's so on the nose. However, I started playing it and I can quote this entire song, I'm pretty sure.
100%. I'm just going to share it here. That is on my bonus 5 because I'm like, you have to include this. You can't. Yeah.
It's also just like, for a movie song, it's very engaging and it gets you fucking hype when you're like, yes, this is Halloween, and you're just, yeah. We also just want to shout out to Mallory from Pop Capsule Pod, who said that movie is a Halloween movie, and anyone who says it's a Christmas movie can fight her. So go find her, but don't really fight her. She just had a kid. She's fragile, okay? It might be the hormones talking.
Yeah.
Your number 4, Jess?
My number 4 is I Put a Spell on You. It can be any version.
Okay, that was my question.
Well, okay, so right, it's originally by Screaming Jay Hawkins. It's made popular by Creedence Clearwater.
And by Bette Midler.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't consider that version the most popular, but I guess yes, because, yeah, that makes sense.
That's where I know the song from. I've never heard the Creedence Clearwater version.
Really?
I know it exists, but I've never heard it.
Oh,
I knew it from
interesting.
the movie.
Interesting. I was going to say there's a kind of like alternative folk band I listen to called Jehon Street Corner Thieves, and they have a version of this song that if you're into like folk punk alt folk, go listen to their version because it is sick. Like it's so good. But all the versions, I put on like 5 or 6 versions trying to decide like what one was going to be my favorite, and then I decided just that song. Like whatever version speaks to you, it belongs on a Halloween playlist.
This is very interesting. Very interesting.
Number 3.
Wow, we're really flying through this, but it's okay because I do genuinely think I'm gonna spend way too long on my other 5.
Bonus.
Yeah, because I think that the top 5 don't need as much justification. So number 3 is Calling All the Monsters.
Okay.
By China and McClain. Also in 2021, they released a 10th anniversary edition by 3, which is China and McClain's group with her sisters, featuring Messenger. You know the song, Jess, I'm assuming?
Yes.
It's a bop. It's
Mhm.
so good. It's a Disney Channel song. She recorded this for her TV show when she was like 13, and it's so good. And you can dance to it. And one of my favorite things about it is that it's not about running away from monsters. It's about like dancing with the monsters,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. And like any Disney Halloween playlist, and a lot of like just Halloween playlists in general always have that song. I feel like it's just a given.
It's one that I forgot to think about for a long time when I was making this playlist. And then I was like, duh. And it truly, the comment section of the video is just like, this is a classic no matter if you were a Disney kid or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's transcended past just being Disney. It's now just like a Halloween song.
I also just think China Anne McClain is incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Anything that she's in, I will watch. Pretty much. Yeah. What's your number 3, Jess?
See, this is where I'm realizing we did go very different, and which I'm appreciating. My number 3 is a song called Murder at the Bingo Hall by Amigo the Devil. I just have to say,
You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
yeah, I will. I do want to say first though, I was texting Amanda and I told her that like a lot of my top 5 have the full albums. You could argue are a Halloween playlist, like just put on the album. This is on his album Born Against. That whole album, if you just want like spooky, he sings horror folk metal. So
Ooh, hot.
think about what that is as a genre. And that is him to a T. Super, super awesome artist, but everything's a little creepy, a little spooky. It's him and his banjo. So that kind of gives you the vibe of the song. Murder at the Bingo Hall is exactly what it sounds like. But it's about like the tensions in like a otherwise very fun, playful environment, how people's like competitiveness can come out and it can cause like fights and things like that, except this is then exaggerated into being a murderous scene at a bingo hall. And the song can escalates as it continues. He has like a part where he's like chanting and spelling the word bingo, very kind of like dark. It's
like the song B-I-N-G-O, bingo was his name-o.
Except he's not sure, but he's not saying B-I-N-G-O, bingo is his name-o. But it's just a really creepy, dark song that's actually quite like upbeat and fast, and it builds. And so it just like, I don't know, it's very spooky. It's really great. And it had like when I started planning this 3 days ago, that was the first one I wrote down. I was like, this has to be on my list. I know it's on my Halloween list.
What's its danceability rating out of 10?
Okay, mosh rating.
I said dance.
Well, moshing is dancing.
If you were at a Halloween party, could you dance to it?
4 out of 10. If you
Uh.
want to mosh to it, 9 out of 10.
Jess is so niche sometimes.
Maybe 5 out of 10 danceability, but 9 out of 10 moshability,
Okay.
which I would argue is dancing.
Okay. My second one.
Mm-hmm.
Another classic, though not about Halloween this time, is Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell.
Mm.
You know the song.
Mm-hmm. You do.
It's got that 80s synth pop. I always thought this was an MJ song, and then I looked it up, and the chorus does have backing vocals by Michael Jackson, which is why it sounds like him. It's also why, because apparently Rockwell is just like the son of the owner of Motown Records, and this
Oh.
was, and like they weren't really, he wanted to make music. I don't think they were supportive of it, and then they heard this song with MJ's vocals, and they're like, yeah, we'll put that one out. And it's about like at a time when he was living with his stepdad. It's literally about feeling like you're being watched all the time. It's a very creepy music video. And as a woman in America, there is nothing creepier than feeling like you're being watched all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And creepy is Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if feeling like you're being watched all the time is, I guess it is.
Yeah. It's scary.
It is
and scary
Halloween.
is Halloween. It's like The Strangers. You ever seen The Strangers? No, you haven't seen The Strangers. The Strangers fucked me up as a kid. I'm a teenager. Don't watch it, Jess. You'll hate it.
It doesn't sound like something I'd be into, I have to be honest.
What's your second?
Okay. Number 2. This is where, guys, I'm niche. I knew
Yeah,
it.
because we weren't niche before.
My number 2 is Parasite Eve by Bring Me the Horizon.
At least I've heard of Bring Me the Horizon.
That's fair. You've also heard of Billie Eilish.
Yeah, I have. Mm-hmm.
It's on their
Sorry,
album. Yeah,
Sorry.
right. It's on their album Post-Human Survival Horror, and this is another one. You want Halloween vibe? Put on that album.
Horror or horror?
Horror.
Okay, just checking.
Survival horror. But this song was released in 2020, but they wrote it previous to that. But basically the lead singer Ollie like read an article about this Japanese superbug that became heat resistant to climate change. And he was just like really inspired by this article, so wrote this song and they released it, and it's about like deadly virus, something taking over, very spooky, very creepy. And of course, they released it in February of 2020, and then they kind of pulled back from making it a single or making a video because then the pandemic happened. And so the song didn't really get the like popularity that they wanted it to and that they were trying to build around it because they had to make a decision to not. But it's like very creepy. Parasite Eve's named after a game, a role-playing video game from the 90s. So he like stole, borrowed the name from that, was inspired. So it's just like a very, very like creepy song, but in like a fun way. And that one's danceability, I would argue, is like 8 out of 10.
And similarly to my second, Somebody's Watching Me, it's based on something real, and that makes everything more terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like fully based on something that's completely plausible, which is like very creepy and spooky, especially if you like start to break down the lyrics. I was like, ooh, I don't know if I wanted to like explore these lyrics at the level that I was reading them. I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't know that I actually wanted to know this.
Mm-hmm. But it's a good song.
Okay, my very top first one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad at you.
Why?
Because you already said it.
Oh, I put a spell on you?
It is I Put a Spell on You.
Okay.
But it's by Screamin' Jay Hawkins, his version.
Okay.
Similarly to you. Well, okay, I knew it from Hocus Pocus.
Mm-hmm.
the Bette Midler version, which is accurate of most 90s babies. Thank you, Jessica.
Okay.
And then I thought I knew it wasn't the original. I should listen
Mhm.
to the other versions. I really only listened to the original version. I didn't even listen to the Creedence Clearwater.
Mhm.
I don't know why I'm struggling to say that name. Anyway, because the original version is so good.
Mhm.
It's so good.
Mhm.
Do you know the story behind this one?
No.
So originally, Jay Hawkins was just another blues singer, was not trying to do anything weird, and this was just a blues ballad that came to him. But the producer or someone brought in some food and some drinks, and everyone got a little too drunk. And so he just went all out recording. He was blackout drunk. He did not remember recording this song. That's how drunk he was. And he just went full in on it and made it this like spooky thing that then became his persona, where he became known as Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
Wait, this is so impressive because we need everyone to like pause. I'm going to tell you, pause the podcast, pause the YouTube video, go listen to the original version if you haven't, because now knowing this, my mind is a little blown because he sounds amazing. I would never, ever, ever think that he was blackout drunk. The vocals are so creepy, spooky, but in like a haunting, I put a spell on you vibe. Like he
Mhm.
really, oh, that is really awesome. Actually, I did not know that.
That song, he's quoted as saying he realized that he could like do more by destroying a song and screaming it to death than just singing. But also it became a big part of his personality, where he would like bring props onto stage. Someone paid him to come out of a coffin on stage. And so he's considered a pioneer of shock rock, because then
Oh,
it was his biggest song ever, and it was something he did until he passed in like his 70s, where he would perform it with a lot of props in a very creepy way. But he also didn't like that. Like, he didn't love it being a gimmick, and he didn't love the screaming part of his name. But
mm,
still, like, it became so big that it was a huge
hmm,
phenomenon for the horror music genre. And it
yeah.
was just because he was stupid drunk.
That's like so fun. I'm sure there is part of him, like as you mentioned, that's like frustrated that that became his persona. But like, how fun that you just like unlocked a creative talent because you were just like drinking and fucking around. Like,
Yeah, and for a song that's supposed to be a love ballad,
yeah,
it actually sounds like a Halloween song, like you're
yeah,
putting a love spell on someone.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm so into it. The
yeah,
origin story sold me, and the
yeah.
performance. All right.
Okay, I don't have background for this one. Like Amanda, I didn't do a lot of research on this one. It just, I feel like, speaks for itself. I could not make a Halloween playlist without including Cannibal by Kesha, my
Oh,
queen, my girl crush, my hall pass. I had to put her on this.
you're hall pass.
Yes. It guys, you know the song, you've heard the song. It's a Halloween song. I don't have anything else to say.
I really appreciate that neither of us included the Monster Mash in our top 5 or Ghostbusters.
So I listened to the Monster Mash because I
I
was like,
didn't.
oh, I did because I was like, oh, this is a Halloween song. I should listen. And then I was like, you know, to be honest, if I was making a playlist, I would not put this song on it.
It's like the best-selling song of all time, or at least holiday song. It's incredibly, incredibly successful. For anyone not watching the YouTube version of our podcast, Jessica's mouth just completely fell off her face. But it is an incredibly successful song,
But when
and
you
it's
say most successful holiday song, are we comparing that to Christmas songs or just for Halloween holiday?
it might be Halloween. I'm not sure.
Hmm. I do believe that it's very popular, but
But anyway, regardless, it is the top of every single playlist that you ever look at.
mhm,
And I, frankly, got over it by the time I was 10. I was so sick of hearing it,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I think in the way that like a lot of the soundtrack to Nightmare Before Christmas is like very fun to listen to. I don't
Hmm.
I don't get sick of that as much. Where like Monster
Yeah,
Mash and some of these, like, even hate to say it, I agree that Thriller is a Halloween song and it does belong on a Halloween playlist, but it's one of those songs, it's always on. You go into a store during fall, it's playing. Like, you go to an event, they're gonna have that on their playlist. Like, it's just always playing, and so you kind of get over it, you know?
I get it. I agree. Thriller's 5 for me because I never choose to listen to it, but by the time it hits the chorus, I'm
Hmm.
like, "All right, I'm in it."
Yeah,
Like, I'm enjoying it.
yeah, that's fair.
Whereas I don't get that with the Monster Mash. I don't get that with Ghostbusters. I don't like they just don't really do anything for me anymore. Sorry.
Hmm. Do we want to
Honor.
get into our bonus five?
Yes.
Okay.
So my bonus 5, I went a lot more like you did with your top 5. My bonus 5 don't have any traditional.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we kind of did opposites. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
into this.
So, oh, are we ordering this at all?
No, mine's not ordered. There's not even numbers. It's dashes. We cannot order it.
Great. I have "Make Me Wanna Die" by The Pretty Reckless.
Okay.
Do you
Okay.
know that song?
I do. Yes.
Yeah, it's, like, their most successful song. The Pretty Reckless, fronted by Taylor Momsen. It's been out for 13 years. It's very vibey. It has death, which is inherently Halloween,
Mhm.
in the title, and also the whole song is her just basically stripping through the streets of Los Angeles, walking to a graveyard. It has like a soft, creepy pre-chorus before she gets into the hard rock. There's violin in the bridge. There's like a synth vocal filter on her voice in the chorus. So it's just like, and I it's one of those rock songs that has enough of like a pop beat that you could dance to it while still remain being creepy.
I like that, like, your through line is that this playlist needs to be danceable.
It wasn't intentional, but that is it's just how some songs I listened to and I thought, yeah, lyrically it could be Halloween, but I'm bored. And so I
Mm,
removed them and included some songs that are a little less Halloween traditionally. Yeah.
okay.
It wasn't intentional. Continue.
Um,
Sorry.
already mentioned, but of course had to include This Is Halloween from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Such a bop.
So good.
Any other notes?
No, it's
Okay.
good.
My next one from the same album that you already referenced, I have a Billie Eilish, Bury a
Mm.
Friend.
Oh, that's a good one. I did
As
think about that one.
very vibey, got fun
Mhm.
metallic creepy sounds. The music video's
Mhm.
creepy as hell. Like you
Her
said,
voice.
anything in that album could work. I that was the first one I came across and I thought I could look up more, but then I'm just going to get overwhelmed.
Mhm. Her voice is just Halloween. Like, it's that
Mhm.
kind of like whispery, sultry, eerie. And then when you like partner that with like the beats that they add in and the sounds and stuff that they add into those songs with the lyrics of Bury a Friend, it is very much Halloween.
Yeah, and especially now her stuff, she's maturing a bit and she's genre expanding and stuff and we love the new stuff, but early Billy was so creepy,
Hmm.
so good.
Hmm.
What's your next?
Okay, classic, guys. Spooky, scary skeletons.
I don't think I know that one. I might
Are you
know it if I
kidding?
heard it. I think I saw it on a playlist and just kept scrolling.
You do know it. It literally is just like spooky, scary skeletons. Like, it is
Is that
literally.
the kind of beat? Like, do, 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 do,
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I actually don't
It's
know if I've ever heard it.
it's very much like it's playing in the grocery store. It's playing in the mall.
Is
You're
it playing in
going,
Spirit Halloween?
yeah, it's playing in Spirit Halloween. Like, it is that vibe. The reason I had to include this on this playlist is when my husband worked in retail and was going into his workplace every single day, the whole month of October, he would come home singing the song, and then we would have to play it because it was permanently stuck in his head. And so this just gives me very much Halloween vibes because I had a husband that was singing it every single day for a month for 3 years. So
And you didn't hate it?
oh, it's very annoying. It's one of those Halloween songs. It's definitely very annoying, but I still had to include it.
Fair enough.
You know?
Yeah.
It's from the 90s. I feel like a lot of stuff I included was more
current.
recent. Yeah, more current.
Mhm.
That I was like, oh, besides I Put a Spell on You, but everything else is pretty current. So I was like, oh, I got to throw in this one because it's from 96. So
For me, everything was either 80s or aughts. There was like no,
okay.
because again, it was like either it's rock or it's synth pop,
Yeah, that's fair.
which are 80s and aughts, both of
Mhm.
those genres.
Mhm.
So my next one is a little more classic. It's Season of the Witch, but particularly the Lana Del Rey version because that's giving
Ooh.
your cozy Halloween vibes and because it's originally sung by a man. And when I'm talking about the Season of the Witch, I want it to be sung by the most witchy woman we know, and that is Lana Del Rey. So
Mhm.
not a man. Sorry.
It's fair.
It's just really cozy witchy vibes, which is basically what Lana is.
Mhm. I don't know if I've ever listened to that song. I need to go listen.
Have you heard the original?
I don't think so.
The it's kind of an acoustic pop song saying must be the season of the witch. Must
Maybe
be
if I
the
listen to
season
it,
of the witch.
I don't think I know it.
Wow, this is one of those ones that's on a playlist everywhere.
Hmm.
Can I shame you like you shamed me?
Yeah,
How have you not heard that? You've heard this song, Jess.
maybe I'll have to listen.
What's your next one?
Okay, getting back into this one is still, I feel like, more mainstream, but my last two bonus ones will be a little off the wall, Jess. But this one is Disturbia by Rihanna.
Okay, I saw this on every recommended list because I did search a few lists for ideas, and I just disagree. But please continue. Please sell it to me.
I don't know if I can sell it to you. I don't know if the song is inherently Halloween. What I think gives me Halloween vibes about it is that it is very like, I want to party, I want to dance, I have a cocktail in both hands, we're all wearing costumes and we're singing on the dance floor to this, and it is just very like fun Halloween party upbeat dancing vibes. And because I didn't really do anything else in that genre except maybe Cannibal by Kesha, I felt that I had to include another song like that.
Fair enough. It's a good dance song. I think something that hinders me is and I don't know why because I'm clearly not adhering to this rule in my own list, but something about like songs that are inherently not Halloween or spooky being used for Halloween songs like on all these playlists like Disturbia, to me I guess I blur with like S&M and that like whole because that
Mm-hmm.
was that era of Rihanna, right?
Yep.
Where
Yep.
like Zombie by the Cranberries is on a lot of these lists. I get it because it's called Zombie, but that song is about the Irish struggles,
Mm.
not about zombies.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some mental block in there. But then I have songs like Bury a Friend isn't about literally burying a friend, but it's on my list.
Yeah. I was going to
So
say, I have not followed that rule with my list at all. I would argue that none of these are actually Halloween songs.
I think it's if I know what it's about, then I can't put it on the list. But if I don't know, then it's fine.
Okay. That's fair.
Although actually that totally does not apply to the next song that I have to
Okay, what's the next one? Amanda's laughing at her own rules that she puts on herself and then does not follow. Like if you listen to our last episode in the fall bracket, she put on a rule of, well, Halloween is overarching. And then as we continued, she was like, well, I would argue this. I'm like, that goes against everything you said. So this is a common Amanda theme.
Are you mad at me? Do you feel like I rigged that bracket?
I don't.
Guys, I feel like Jess is mad at me.
No, I agree with the winner of the bracket. Not rigged.
It's not okay. That time I was playing devil's advocate. I was making content, Jessica.
Okay.
This time I'm laughing at myself because I am so fucking hypocritical.
What is it? Tell
I'm,
us.
I'm so sick by Flyleaf.
Oh my god. Okay, but I agree. Halloween.
Yeah, if you don't know the song, go listen to it. Flyleaf is incredible. Apparently, they're having a resurgence. The original singer came back, I think, last year, and they've been touring a bit. So that's,
Fun.
yeah, very, very cool. Flyleaf was like a little over a decade ago was their height, and I did listen to them. They're a bit harder rock. She screams at the very beginning. And that's the rest of the time she's not screaming, but she has a similar quality in her voice to, I'd say, Billie. It's not quite as whispery, but it's a little eerie and it's higher register. Vocals are 10 out of 10. Hilariously, okay, the reason if you don't know this song and you don't know what it's about, the reason I am laughing at myself for being so hypocritical is that Flyleaf is not it's a Christian rock band. They don't say like they prefer to just like be a rock band, but they are Christian and their faith comes out in their music, you know? They're one of those bands that like blurs the lines a little bit, but the lyrics are kind of Christian.
Okay.
But then that also for some reason like makes them oddly creepy because she says like I'm so sick, infected with where I live. I scream it, you're hearing it, and seeping through my itching veins and shit like that. Like it's sounds kind of creepy. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely a lyrically creepy song, which is why
Yeah.
I feel like it fits in the Halloween.
And it's also the vibes are kind of creepy.
Yeah.
I'm into it. Okay, what's your next one?
Okay, next one, Vampire Money by My Chemical Romance. Could not do a Halloween playlist without including that song. For those who don't know, I would not say the song is inherently lyrically or about Halloween. But My Chemical Romance does give me Halloween vibes. Song is like traditional 2010 My Chemical Romance, a little screamy, very rock. But Twilight was inspired by My Chemical Romance's stage performance, vibe, music. And so Gerard got, yeah, you didn't know that.
Well, Twilight was inspired by Muse.
And My Chemical Romance.
I only knew about Muse.
And so
Muse did a soundtrack and said that they sold out big time. Anyway, sorry. Gerard, what?
Gerard got offered to create a song for Twilight and was like, I am not taking your vampire money. I'm not selling out to this shit. This is not what I'm about. Like, we are going to stay true to our roots. We are going to be MCR and like, fuck your vampire money. But really, it's just like, fuck anything in life that's trying to like steer you away from like who you are at your root. And I do think Halloween is inherently about like embracing the creepy, embracing the weird, embracing the spooky. And this is kind of saying like, we're going to stay who we are and we're not going to like give in to the other pressures that are there. So I feel like we can argue that that's Halloween in that way, but I had to include Vampire Money. It's a bop.
I don't know it. Don't get mad at me. I don't know any MCR songs. I would recognize the Black Parade, whatever that's called, if I heard it. But what is it? When I Was a Young Boy? Is that how it starts?
You are actually making me really angry. I'm getting so mad. What do you mean?
They were one of the few bands that everyone loved, and therefore I had no interest in listening to them because when everyone
You would
tells me,
love them.
I
You
know.
literally would love them.
I know. But I don't know their songs. And also it's really funny that I mentioned that Muse said that they sold out when they made Twilight songs, and then you immediately went into we're not selling out for your vampire money. And I actually did listen to a couple Muse songs, especially Supersonic Black Holes, because I was on the similar vein of like, is a Twilight song a good idea? I also listened to Decode this morning by Paramore, which is a Twilight song, and it's just it's not creepy, you know.
Yeah,
Listen,
I also listened to that and I was like, good song. Doesn't give me Halloween.
they performed it when I saw Paramore, which they don't normally. It was like a surprise, and a lot of people were very excited, and I was like, wait, oh, this song? Huh, okay. But yeah, I almost listened to MCR for the first time by choice while making this playlist because I knew that they'd have something.
Yeah, oh, I would argue I could have made a whole playlist that was just MCR. Honestly, a lot of these artists, I could have made whole playlists that were just these artists.
Okay. This
Well,
might be controversial, and I don't think you're going to know the song, Jess.
okay.
Not to be like too cool, but I just don't think you're going to know it. Not Gonna Get Us by Tattoo.
Mm-mm.
So, Tattoo is a Russian synth pop group from the early aughts that were known for making waves by portraying themselves as lovers. That's a duo of two girls. Their early music was all about like being in love with each other and like running away from people. It was actually just like a full marketing scheme like developed by their label.
Huh.
They're both married to men now, but one of them supports the LGBTs, the other one claims to be bi but was also kind of homophobic. It's whatever. Anyway, this song though is synth pop and you can dance to it, but the main line is not gonna get us, they're not gonna get us. And the idea of it is they're like running away from someone that's chasing them and they just want to get to a place where they can be themselves and be in love forever. And you can hear the like desperation in their voice. And even though it's a dance track, I could see like a horror movie putting a chase scene to it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of upbeat, but a little spooky.
Yeah.
Intense,
Yes.
maybe.
It's intense. It's a bit intense, yeah.
Okay. I'm into that.
Mm-hmm. What's your...
All right. Last but not least, I included Kennedy Curse by The Main. Just had to include a lot of my pop punk bands. I feel like everyone is familiar, but Kennedy Curse, a lot of really? Okay. A lot of artists write songs, poetry, just art around the Kennedy curse, but it's just like a well-known curse of a family that was haunted and they were basically like thought to be cursed, and there was a lot of like deaths and misfortunes and things that surrounded them. So this song deals with like feeling cursed and dealing with like conflicting emotions and emotional emptiness and doing things that are self-serving, and it's just has a lot of very dark themes, and the darkness builds verse to verse. Like verse 1 kind of sets it up, verse 2 continues in the darkness, verse 3 gets a little more dark, really really focusing on like doing self-serving actions, and how that can like affect your emotions and other people's emotions. It's a very very emotional song, but you cannot dance to it, but it does speak spook, and so that is why I had to include it. But it's on The Main's 2013 album Forever Halloween, which if you want like a good Halloween album, that is a fantastic pop punk album, to just like put on while you're cooking dinner, driving, anything like that. Like maybe don't put it on a party, but like if you're playing board games, it might be good background music.
With a title like that, I would hate it if it wasn't. I I'm breaking my own rules. I'm the one that decided we're doing a top 5 and then 5 honorable mentions because I just have to do an actual honorable mention to Sky Full of Song by Florence and the Machine. It's not inherently Halloween. It's not inherently witchy, but I am giving a shout out to the one time that there is a video of her performing this on a rooftop in New York and literally summoning a storm mid-song. It's the witchiest shit I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's incredible.
Okay. Cool. She does seem like someone who would summon storms. She gives me very witchy vibes.
The song has a line, "It keeps raining in LA," but she changed it to New York. She was performing in New York, and it's "I couldn't hide from the thunder in a sky full of storm," I think is the main line. And she sang the "It keeps raining" line is in the first verse, and then in the like chorus, wind starts coming, and then it's so bad that the people playing instruments are like holding their instruments, and she has to turn to face it, and then it starts raining a bit, and it's just like the most magical thing I've ever seen. And I think Florence and the Machine is a real witch. It has to be.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Any other Halloween playlist shout outs?
I don't think I have anything else. Do you?
No.
I just want to say that we are, of course, leaving out a whole bunch of songs. We
Mhm.
both recognized before recording this that Kim Petras has an entire album dedicated to the spook. I've never listened to it. Jess has. Neither of us
Mhm.
included any songs. I'm sure that there's lots of songs like that. Be mad about it. These are our definitive lists. They are the best songs.
Yeah. And we based it on like what we inherently like to listen to and view as Halloween. So it's a little subjective, but that's okay.
My criteria. Does the singer sound scared? Or does the singer sound like a witch?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all of the songs I listed.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true. Coming up next, we're gonna go into some like more Halloween films. We're gonna have do a collab podcast in the next
Ooh.
one with a horror podcast. Do we want to shout them out? I guess. Um, we'll be doing a collab podcast with Leave Her Alone Pod, which is just a horror podcast that just started a few weeks ago. And so that's going to be very exciting. We're going to be watching Halloween, the original one. And so you have that to look forward to.
It's actually, or it's pronounced liver alone.
Oh.
It's a Scream quote, guys. You probably know it. Jess hasn't seen Scream. I watched it
thought
for
it
the
was,
first
you
time.
told me it was Lever.
Well, it's so. I'll explain this to you off the pod.
Okay. Lever Alone.
I'm very excited. They're some of my best friends in real life, and they started a podcast. So we are going to be watching one of their favorite films. It is a horror film. It is an independent film. Jess will not like it, and you can look forward to that. And then we'll also do some other things. It'll be a surprise, maybe, if we haven't promoted it by the time that this episode comes out.
Mm-hmm. Also, rate and review wherever you listen to us. Follow us on social media. We're 90s Babies Nostalgia on YouTube and Instagram. Spell out the word 90s. Amanda has also started to be active on TikTok. So we also are 90s Babies Nostalgia there, except use the numbers. Don't spell it out. We love when you guys engage with us, leave comments, DM us. So we would love to hear what you're looking forward to in Halloween fall content, what your favorite Halloween things are, especially if they're indie films, foreign TV shows, foreign films. We would love any recommendations that you could give us.
Absolutely. We're having a lot of fun making this podcast and trying to get it out there a little bit more and keep mixing things up for ourselves and for anyone listening. So we really appreciate you. And yeah, I hope you're liking the new content.
Me too. We
Stay
will see you in the next one.
Stay spooky.
Bye.
Bye.